We have a video that we recorded all about decrees. But do you know the importance of saying the decrees? Stay with us to find out.
All right, hon. Why is it important to decree? Speaking from your experience.
Okay, from my experience, what I've done with decreeing, it has helped me to stay balanced emotionally, mentally, and to have more focus in my life. I notice when I decree, I seem to know things more. It's like I don't have to search for answers. I don't have to ask a lot of questions. I just know it. It just comes to me. But I also have noticed when I stop decreeing, say I miss a day of decreeing, all of a sudden I start to feel off balance, and then it seems like things take a little bit longer to get back on track. So there's some kind of momentum that is built up with the decreeing that, for lack of a better word, encompasses you in everything that you do.
All right.
For me, that's my experience.
Now that we've gotten a really technical explanation, what do you mean by balance, staying balanced?
Like emotionally, not being overly happy all the time or angry or sad or anything else. I'm always kind of in the middle where I'm, as the word is, balanced. I can be happy, yes, I can be sad, yes, but it's not going to take me from one extreme to the other like how it used to be.
So what's wrong with being overly happy? I wouldn't deal with overly sad, but what's wrong with being overly happy? You seem to have a challenge with that, the way you say that.
If I do, it might be because when I used to be like that, I was told that I was constantly hyper and I needed to settle down.
Uh-huh. So, did you believe that?
Yes, I did.
Why?
No, I must be hyper. There must be something wrong with me. I'm too happy. I'm full of energy. That also could have been all the caffeine, but...
ADHD, maybe?
I couldn't tell you.
Well, because you're talking about balance, right?
Right. But, I'd go from being really happy, and then if something would happen, I'd get really angry, if something, say, bad happened. Or I could get really mad, things didn't go the way I thought they should. And it was literally going from extreme to extreme for me.
So what does that have to do with decree?
Well, by saying the decrees. Once I started saying the decrees, it helped me to stay balanced, where I wasn't constantly like a hyper individual, and I wasn't going to the extreme where I would get really angry and mad and be that way for a long time. Everything started to work its way where it didn't affect me as much.
You became calmer.
Yes, a lot calmer. I had more patience.
You know how they describe, we have some kids that we know where they've been given medication for hyperactivity.
Yes.
And then you said, they get so calm, so quiet. It sounds like that to me. Mm-hmm. Except you're not taking any medication or any drugs.
No.
So how do you feel about that?
Oh, I'm very happy with that. Makes me feel very good.
Why is that?
Because I don't have myself in a position where I'm easily getting moved one way or another when people do things that others might perceive as good or bad. I stay even.
Okay.
And I just assess the situation versus reacting.
So would you say, this is an interview.
I noticed.
It feels like an interview, right?
Yes, it sure does.
Would you say then that maybe by saying decrees that you've been given, you approach things, your perspective is different?
Yes.
Now how so?
Well, just by the words of the decrees that I say, my perspective is different because of the content of the words. It's like I'm speaking about being positive all the time, and as the Buddha would say, walking the middle way, and that's exactly how it feels.
Would you say then that a decree actually reinforces certain positive behaviors for you?
For me, yes.
But that sounds like an affirmation.
Yes, but we have a decree. We have a video about decrees and affirmations, and they're not the same.
Okay. So I guess you'll put that at the, when you do your tech thing.
Yes, I can add the link for that one.
Okay. So let's go back. Decree. So someone decrees.
Mm-hmm.
Why would someone decree?
Well,
I know you said it keeps you balanced, but you found that out afterwards. Why did you start decreeing?
for me, your good friend Mr. O just gave me a set of decrees and said, start saying these.
Just
It
out
was
of
as simple
nowhere?
as that. Yep. Yep. That was it.
Well, I know
That
you
was my
guys- I
introduction.
know you guys spent time together, so I guess you were close enough and said, here, take this.
But we never talked about, the teachings or
Right.
decrees or anything. He just said, start saying these. And, and I'd read, I'm supposed to say this 3 times? Oh, okay. And then at the end, I'd always be like, God, if this is going to take me down to where, please burn this out of my hand, make me lose this, have something happen where I know I'm on the wrong path.
Right.
But it didn't, and it kept being reinforced, and then I started having experiences, and I'm like, okay, this is really interesting.
Okay, and that's a good word, right? Interesting.
Yes.
We won't go into experiences here. This is
No.
about the importance of decreeing.
But I do want to say, my experience is different than a lot of individuals, but most of the individuals who are watching this video who do have decrees, or have been given decrees that were guided by the Ascended Masters, they have specific ones for their current life situation and what they're supposed to do in this life.
Right, they're customized.
Right.
Is what you're saying.
Right, yes.
They're not just, you don't just go and start saying any decree
No.
just because, oh, this sounds good.
But I think that's also part of the importance of the decreeing. You're being given these tools that are going to help you on your journey in the life right now that you're supposed to accomplish.
That's a good point, because we know that in a decree session, which is a collection of decrees that one says, right?
Yes,
And you normally say it in the morning, noon, night, right? At least 3 times, at least 2 times a day. Maybe
Right,
not
usually
noon.
morning and evening.
Exactly.
And then you can get it during the day.
And they do the whole session. Each session actually includes a protection decree, which is what you start with,
Yes.
right? And then it has a violet flame decree. Now, depending on what you get, there might be what I call that connection decree, right? We won't give the name of that, but where you connect. That fits somewhere else. That's a completely different type of decree.
They might receive a healing decree.
They might, right? No, I'm talking about the ones that folks normally get. It's normally the protection.
Right.
They'll get a violet flame decree. And then you have the wisdom decree.
Right.
And there's always an Amoria decree as well. So you always get those 4, and then others might be added. What's interesting though is even though you start with a protection decree, the protection decree for each person could be completely different. It's protection, so you think that the protection decree would be the same,
Right.
but it's not the same. And the violet flame decree could be completely different as well, but it's still violet flame. So why are they different? Well, I don't know. The Ascended Master said, this is what you give this person, so we just make sure we give that to that person. But you'd be thinking, okay, it's violet flame, it clears out negativity, so why is it not the same for everybody? I never asked. When El Moria St. Germain said, here's the list for this individual, I just write them down and say, I give them to say, here's the list, and then you send them out.
Right.
But that goes back to customizing.
Right.
So you shouldn't compare decrees with somebody else's. You might start wondering, why did I get those and why did I get these? And you shouldn't wonder now. You should understand that your karma is different, your journey is different.
Right. And I think that's very important because having a different journey from someone else means you require different tools to get through that journey.
Now, if they're married, what happens?
Typically, the married couple gets the exact same decrees
Why is that? Knowing what you know about.
because their karma is combined at this point.
That's correct.
And so, therefore, they work on it together.
Once they get married, it's the same karma. Now, somebody might ask, well, what if you're not married? and you're a couple, I would suggest that you get your own set of decrees, because that's only for legally married couples.
Now, are you
share
talking
the same decrees?
spiritually married or legal as in like in the physical world?
Well,
legal?
that's how it translates. Once you get married, that's what the Bible says. You get married, you're one now.
Okay.
whenever
Just want to
you-
make sure individuals watching this have an understanding.
You're legally married. That translates up there that you're considered. The spiritual bond has been formed. Your karma is now combined. That's what it says in the Bible. So
Okay.
that doesn't get somebody asked. But if you're not legally married, then of course your karma is different. And if you want, if your partner is saying they got decrees and you didn't, you shouldn't. I don't suggest you take your partner's decrees and say them, even though it won't harm you, right? But
Right.
it's not specific to your karma.
Right.
It's nice that you're helping your partner balance his or her karma. You should get your own.
Yes.
If we're guided to give that. And then if you contact and say, I'd like to have some decrees, we might not give you any, because we only give the decrees if we're guided to. Because we wouldn't know what decrees to give you. Now, the one decree that everybody gets is the violet flame decree.
Yes.
And we have that,
That's a video we have out there as well.
Exactly.
Anyone can use that
so
one.
you can use that one in the meantime.
Right. I had a thought, it left my mind, but
Well, here's the other thing. As far as the importance of decreeing, the most important part is that it clears our reception. That's why we decree, just like you were saying. So it starts to clear, you know, with all the things that we've done, the experiences we've had, the kind of life we've lived, the challenges we've experienced. There's so many things that we've put upon ourselves, right? We put our guards up. Is that the right term?
yes.
That we're being protective of
Yes.
ourselves. Okay. We do that. You know, if we have kids, we're protecting our kids as well. And we might become really suspicious because things have been done. We've experienced things where we feel like, I didn't think somebody would do that to me, you know, so we get really protective about who we deal with, or are suspicious of who we deal with. By decreeing, the violet flame especially starts to remove those things. So you don't have to go to counseling, you know. I always say that because we've seen many people that went to counseling for what, 20 years, 25
Or more
years?
than that, yes.
Right? And at least that's what they shared with us. And they were still battling with whatever situation they went to counseling for. They were still going to counseling.
Correct.
And then they're given certain decrees, they say the decrees, and within a couple of years, everything resolved. They don't need counseling anymore. And when they think about the situation, it's under control.
Right.
So that's what decrees do. They start to balance whatever the negative energy is or negative frequency that's around an individual. Well, not balance it, but remove it, change it into positive frequencies or positive energies.
And speaking of frequencies, importance of decreeing as well is to continue a momentum to raise your frequency, to protect you at all times, and also help you, again, be more in tune and receptive to information that's being sent to you and given to you.
Now, if you're saying decrees, do you really have to have anything else?
Not in my opinion, no.
Why is that?
Because an actual decree session where you have a whole set of decrees is like a form of meditation.
It is meditation.
It is meditation. There you go. And it helps you on with everything that you need for your journey. As
Right.
far as protection, raising your frequency, burning off karma, and doing all kinds of things to help you for your journey.
And for that current situation.
Yes.
Now, for example, if you're worried about, oh, you know, I want to buy a house, or how do I feed my kids? If we've been guided to provide you with decrees, more than likely the decrees cover that situation. So you don't have to worry about that anymore. Just keep saying your decrees and know that the Ascended Masters are working with you to get whatever situation you're dealing with, whatever the pressing issue is. And that's the key. You might see something else as a pressing issue, but based on your karma, that is not a pressing issue. So let's say, for example, you want to buy a car,
Right.
right? And so like, oh, I need a car. But then the Masters look at your karmic record and they're saying, this person needs to have a better relationship with their kids and their parents. Guess what's going to happen?
the relationship with the kids and the parents is going to be addressed first.
Exactly. Now, so you're wondering, why am I not getting a car when these guys from 190 Vision are telling me that the decrees are going to help me with my current situation? Well, it is helping you, the decrees are helping you with the current situation, but it's not what you think your current situation is, it's what the current situation is in the spiritual realm, in heaven, and what they see is most important to deal with. Now, once you resolve the situation with your parents and your kids as far as relationship issues, the next thing might be the car. Then you'll get the car. What I'm saying is, one of the biggest reasons, again, another biggest reason, right, to say the decrees is for you to know that God now is in control on your behalf. You know, let God guide you. Stop trying to do it yourself. And now this is where you have to know, not have faith, but you have to know that God always has your best interest in mind. And I say God, we say Ascended Masters, but they come from God, you know? So even though you might not think things are going the way they're supposed to go, you should know that, okay, this is happening this way because this is what I'm supposed to be dealing with. I'd rather have a good relationship with my parents and my kids than a car, you know, because that's more important for anybody, right? They want to have love around and feel like they're loved and they have people that care. Even the car later.
Who knows? Maybe as they go about repairing the relationship with their parents and their children, the parents might just give them a car.
You just have to add something to it. We're not saying to expect a car from your parents,
No,
okay?
not at all. We're just saying there are different possibilities,
Right.
you know?
And you never know where it's coming from.
Right.
It's always a wonderful surprise. So that's another reason why you decree, you know, because you're acknowledging that, okay, you know what, I'm going to start handing this over to God now. And if you don't believe in God, you want to call it source or whatever
Universe.
you want to. That's up to you. Yeah. But just learn to let it be guided, you know, instead of you trying to deal with it yourself.
Right.
Any other reasons why? Or the importance of decreeing?
No, I think we've covered it.
Another one is where you might feel overwhelmed about things, right? And you don't know how to handle them. You need help. You know, you just want some answers. Well, by decreeing, and this would be similar to, say, letting go, but it's a little different in the sense that as you decree, you'll start to get answers. And the answers might come, like you said, you had dreams. No, that's not this. That was take one. From but you know, people might have dreams, right?
Right.
That's definitely something that people could have, and then they're getting guidance that way.
Right.
And so they start to get answers to their questions, or to whatever the serious condition is that they see, that they're dealing with at the time. So just by decreeing, you open yourself to this huge possibility of help, you know, or options of help. The angels, the Ascended Masters, your spirit guides, all of a sudden they're there to help you. You've summoned your army.
Yes, and I think that's also, yes, a very good important point, that you have this army behind you and you can let go, as you've said, or step away from trying to be in control. Because there's no need for you to want to constantly be controlling everything. That's when you start to worry and you think about the past. Oh my gosh, I shouldn't have done that. Oh, maybe I should be doing this now. You can leave all that behind, because now you're in a position where, as my husband said, you have an army with you. They're working with you. They're helping you to get through everything on your journey. So just know that everything will always work out, because it does, as you continuously decree. At least that's been my experience.
And the experience of a lot of individuals that are helped or guided by 190 Vision with the help of the Ascended Masters. Sorry. So the bottom line is that if you feel that you could use some help, you know, where else would you want to go than to a team or that support or that army that knows everything about you from this life and any other life? What better place to go than to a mentor that loves you? He created you, right? And he's giving you all the tools that you require in this lifetime. What better place to go than to an army that you know is invincible? Your army can't be defeated because Archangel Michael leads the group there, and they kicked out you know who out of heaven, so they're invincible. So you never have to worry about losing because it's not going to happen. And so it goes back to tying to what you were saying. It will work out. You'll always win. As long as you understand that it's not the way that you might expect it to be. Others be like, oh, it didn't happen the way I expected, so I lost. No, you always win because it always works out in your favor.
Right. Okay. Hope this helped you. Remember to subscribe and like this video. Join the Facebook group 190 Vision to connect with others on the same journey. Get help by visiting our website 190vision.com. Support the 190 Vision mission by clicking on the donate button, which is at the bottom of each page of our website.